of the slide that says wholesale water purchases, if you can see that. So, okay. So again, apologies for that. But wholesale, yes, sir.
So you're using slide number?
Yes, I'm using slide numbers. Yes, sir. I apologize. I
On the left-hand
apologize.
side.
So I'll try and do a better job of referring to that as we go through. I did not mean to create any confusion there. So again, the slide wholesale water purchases, you see what we're projecting from the city of Waco going forward. In fiscal year 26, 53% of your total water expenses will come from the city of Waco. It's about $1.47 million there. What we've done is we've come in and we've established what are those minimum rates you have to charge just to pay Waco. And that's what you see there at the bottom where we have the fixed rate and the volumetric rate. When we get into our recommended rate structure, you're going to see it's higher than these numbers here, because those numbers just get 53% of your budget. You have to get the rest of your budget to be able to handle your own operations, handle your own infrastructure. But we've projected this out, and we've used this to guide rate setting going forward, because again, you've got to pass this through. If you don't, you're just going to get behind on your own infrastructure. So going on to the next slide titled Wholesale Wastewater Purchases. Again, this is what Waco's charging you. We're projecting $392,000 here in fiscal year 26. That's about 32% of your wastewater budget there. And again, you see the same type of setup. What do those minimum rates have to be just to cover the cost from Waco? We use that to guide our recommendation to you as we set rates going forward. So moving on to rate design. As I present this rate plan to you tonight, what are we trying to accomplish? Number one, we are trying to accomplish overall revenue sufficiency. As I said, we want our revenues to match or exceed our expenses. We are also looking at maintaining our reserves. We want to build into a fund balance reserve that meets our target. Our target is about 20% of our expenses. Honestly, that's, in the industry right now, that's a little low. As we look at that, we ideally, longer term, want to look at potentially 25% fund balance as a target. But again, we also have to be cognizant of rate gradualism. We want to avoid rate shock to our customers where we are. So we want to build into where we need to be. But we are looking at that reserve target. The other item I'm looking at within this rate plan is I'm looking at what's called debt service coverage. We want to make sure that we can pay our debt. So we want to look at revenues. After we've paid our O&M expenses, we want that incremental difference to be equal to what that debt service payment is. Anytime you take debt out, you are making a promise to bondholders. We need to make sure that we can keep that promise, that we can pay that debt. So again, a couple other items that we looked at in rate design. We want to make sure that those minimum rates are set to at least cover the cost from Waco. We don't want to sell water or provide wastewater treatment service for less than what it costs us to get that service. So that's why we've come in, we've established those rates, and you're going to see that in this rate schedule. As I said before, we are smoothing rates where possible as we look out into the future. I've also got two different water rate designs within this presentation. Option one that you're going to see in the presentation effectively keeps your rate design the way it is right now. Option two increases the inclining block rate. And what I mean by that, on the water side, you have a two-part rate. There's a fixed charge, there's a variable charge. That variable charge increases as you use more water. Under our option two, we're making that increase a little greater. We're trying to encourage a little more conservation, basically making those that use more water pay more. And so that's what you're going to see under option two. Again, it doesn't make a big difference in the example bills that I'm going to provide for you that we're going to walk through tonight. But I did want you to note, option one, that's your current rate design. Option two, it's a little more conservation oriented. So on slide 7, again, bottom corner of the slide, slide 7, titled Infrastructure Fund, you do have within your rate structure right now an infrastructure fee. You charge your residents currently $10 a month for that infrastructure fee. We're recommending you take that to $13, so a $3 a month increase in the infrastructure fee. For your commercial customers, right now that's $17.50. We're recommending you take it to $22.75 for your commercial customers. All of this is driven by reinvestment in your system. You see there for fiscal year 26, we're estimating $562,000 in cash capital expenditures that we need on our infrastructure here in the community. You'll see that decreases to about $300,000 in '27, but as we move forward, we're anticipating that the city may utilize debt for some of these improvements. So again, this is a portion of the increase that you're going to see within the monthly bills here, but it all comes back to reinvesting in our system. As we move on, slide 8, just want to walk through very briefly for you. We've broken your utility out between the water system and the wastewater system, looking at the performance of the system. On the left-hand side there, slide 8, you see revenues versus expenses. Very simply, the vertical bar, that's your expenses. The horizontal line, that's your revenues under current rates. Right now, your water utility is not generating enough money, and it's not projected to generate enough money going forward. We need an increase so that we can cover our expenses. On the right-hand side, that's debt service coverage. As we look going forward into the future, as we may need to utilize debt for our infrastructure going forward, you are not in a position to be able to do that under your current rates. You would not be able to pay your debt with the current rate structure. So again, that leads us to an increase. Slide 9, this is the financial performance of the wastewater system. Your wastewater system is actually in better shape than your water system right now. Currently, your expenses are below your revenues. You're in good shape as far as debt service coverage. So right now, wastewater is looking good. We do recommend that you continue to increase wastewater as your wholesale expense goes up. But as we start to look at the rate schedules and the sample bill impacts, you're going to see most of this increase really is on the water side, because that's really where our needs are, and our water utility is not performing adequately at the moment. On slide 10, this is financial performance under current rates. This is just putting it all together, putting together water and sewer together. Again, right now, we're basically on the bubble, but as we go forward, as we look at that infrastructure need going forward, our rates are insufficient. We fall below on our debt service coverage. You see our expenses go above our revenues. And if we move forward without any type of rate adjustments, we would drain our available reserves very, very quickly. So as we go into option 1, you see similar slides here that show the performance. What I would like to do is just very briefly take you forward. This is slide 14, if you don't mind. If we can go ahead and move forward to slide 14. The title of the slide is Monthly Bill Impacts under Option 1. And what you're looking at here, Monthly Bill Impacts, Option 1, slide 14. This is the monthly bill for a 5,000-gallon water and wastewater customer. We use 5,000 gallons because that's average usage for a single-family home, 5,000 gallons. That's kind of the benchmark that we use as we look at these bills. Right now, a 5,000-gallon customer, now this includes the infrastructure fee that we talked about. Right now, it's $10. For residents, we are recommending that go to $13, so this includes that fee. Currently, for 5,000 gallons water and wastewater, the monthly bill is $99.55. In order to meet your plan, in order to be able to make these infrastructure improvements, we are recommending that for fiscal year 26, you adjust rates so that that monthly bill would go from $99.55 to $105.47. Now, that is a $5.92 monthly increase to get us back to where we need to be, so that we are adequately funding our water and wastewater utility. Now you see that's a bump. As we go forward, there are other rate increases programmed in here. They are less than that $5.92, but that is to keep up with our continued increases in costs from Waco, as well as to fund those future infrastructure improvements. So you can see that varies in 2027. We're estimating $2.61 a month, all the way out to 2030. $2.99 a month. But again, this is why pricing is not a one-time exercise. We've got to make sure we're looking at our pricing associated with budget every year. But this gives you the impact of our recommendation here, again, $5.92 a month. So as I said, that's option 1. We do have option 2 for you. Let me take you forward if I can. This would be slide 18. This is entitled Monthly Bill Impacts Option 2. Option 2 is a little less than option 1. Option 1 was $5.92. Option 2, if we are a little more aggressive in conservation, we can bring this down a little bit, just a little, $5.74. Again, it's not much, but we do want to reflect equity in our charges. We want those that use more water to pay more for that water. So again, option 2, monthly increase of $5.74 a month. As I said before, that does include that infrastructure fee. $3 of that increase is associated with that infrastructure fee. On page 19, slide 19, regional bill comparison. Before I jump into the numbers here, every council I'm in front of, every board I'm in front of wants to know how do we look compared to our neighbors. And so we provide this information. But before we go into this, let me tell you that this is not an apples to apples comparison. Every community is different. Different communities have different infrastructure needs. They're in different places in their capital improvement cycle. Some communities purchase water, some communities pump their own water. So you've got to be very, very careful whenever you look at a comparison like this. There's any number of reasons these numbers are what they are. We need to set rates, we need to set pricing appropriate to and commensurate with our business needs. We don't set pricing based on what everybody else is charging. So please keep that in mind as we walk through this. Well, what you see here on slide 19, this is a regional comparison looking at what other providers in the local area charge for service. This is 2,000 gallons of water and wastewater service. 2,000 gallons would be a lower volume user. This is potentially a single individual in a home, living in a home by themselves, probably not watering the yard, not doing a lot of laundry. But again, 2,000 gallons, lower volume use. Right now, the bill here in the city is $74.23 for 2,000 gallons of service. Our two options, option 1, the higher option, would take that from $74.23 to $79.16. Option 2, a little less than that, $78.98. But you can see where you compare. There's quite a range here, all the way from the top, City of McGregor at $98.32, all the way to the bottom, City of Temple, $35.85. It's a wide range. But as you look at it, we're attempting to keep you somewhat in the middle of that range going forward. But I'd also remind you that I'm looking at everybody's pricing today. This is everybody's rates as of May of this year. Every city in the area is going through this same exercise that you're going through right now. They're looking at their prices. They're looking at their rates. Those will be going up either in October or January of this year. So if we rerun this chart in October or January, it could look exactly the same. You may not have moved on this chart. So please keep that in mind. I'm comparing your future condition to everybody's conditions today. So this is a 2,000 gallon comparison. The next page, this is slide 20. This is that 5,000 gallon customer, that single family, average single family customer, 5,000 gallons, right now paying $99.55. The two options we have for you, option 1, $105.47. Option 2, slightly lower, $105.29. Again, you don't move on this comparison. That range there, the bottom part of this is Belmead, $69.90. All the way up to Belton, charging $150.95. So again, quite a range there as we look at that. Again, comparing your future condition to everybody's conditions today. So I know I've thrown a lot at you. Behind the conclusion slide, you will see the actual rate schedules that we provided for you under option 1 and option 2. Not going to go into detail there. Happy to answer any questions about the actual rate schedules if you have any. But let me stop at that point, see what questions can I answer for you, what concerns can I address for you this evening.
You mentioned reserves.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what you think of our reserves?
Your reserves right now are in a fairly good position. So right now you're actually at a 31% level against a 20% target. So I think your reserves right now are healthy. My concern is longer term, if you don't adjust your rates, but you have to make these infrastructure improvements, you're going to drain those reserves very, very quickly. So you're in a good position right now. Protect that position. Let's get the utilities where they need to be so we can fund those infrastructure improvements. But I think you've done a good job at this point on your reserves.
And what dollar amount is that?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Dollar reserves?
We'll get to that. Give me just a moment. Unless Lori can get to it faster. All right. So your reserves right now, we had a ending unrestricted net position this year of about $870,000. That represents a fund balance reserve of about 28.57%. Is where we have you right now. So in terms of overall dollar amount, you're about 870,000 is where we're projecting you to end
That's
this
cash
year.
set aside, unencumbered as a
No,
cushion.
that is fund balance reserve. That does not necessarily mean unrestricted. You can use it for whatever you want. That is a fund balance reserve number. I can go back and pull your cash and cash equivalents number and get that to you.
Okay, that's, that is a little bit of a different, I'm thinking
Yes, sir.
about savings set aside for the rainy day. You're talking about, we've just got a few months' revenue ahead.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That's
it's
correct.
different. Okay.
Yeah, when you look at your infrastructure fund, let me go back to that page there. We had, as far as like cash in your infrastructure fund, we had about $155,000 as your starting balance in your infrastructure fund at the end of this year. So if you want cash for infrastructure, it's about $155,000. Like I said, we're anticipating you need over $500,000 next year in infrastructure
Just for
improvements.
infrastructure.
Just
not
for infrastructure. That's not
for the
operations.
greater water sewer enterprise.
That's correct.
And
That's
that number
just-
would probably be a low seven-digit number?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so.
You're figuring a certain amount of money for infrastructure,
Yes, sir.
and then you have a certain amount of money for reserve. What do you think that we're gonna need, to build extra on the infrastructure? Did you calculate that, or am I missing it?
No, sir. So I didn't provide you all the detailed spreadsheets. We can certainly get that to you. Where I've got you going here longer term, and we've actually run this out to 2035 is where we've run this out to. Let me get to the combined fund summary. So we have you, as far as a fund balance reserve, we've got you going all the way to about 1.69 million by 2035 is where I'm building you to long term.
Good. I'm trying to make sure that how deep you look. I mean, we just talked today about our manholes. We did a survey of smoke testing, spent a fair amount of money with our city engineer.
Yes, sir.
Every manhole in the city's brick is brick.
Yes, sir.
And as a result, when we have a big rain event, we'll see in a couple of months a year, our sewer bill from Waco doubles.
Yes,
Because we're
sir.
treating rainwater. right?
Absolutely.
I mean, did you factor those kinds of issues into the anticipated future spend? Because we actually know that's.
Yes, sir.
That's a $900,000 number to fix.
So like I said, we've got $500,000 here in '26 out of the infrastructure fund. Going forward, we have $300,000 a year out of the infrastructure fund. On top of that $300,000 a year, we're assuming $1 million in debt being issued every other year, all the way out to 2035. And we've actually adjusted that for inflation. So it's not just $1 million, it's $1 million today, adjusted for inflation into the future. So we have those issuances popping on every other year. Now, I will say, these are assumptions. These are assumptions based on what we know today. If things change with the city of Waco, which likely they will, as you identify other infrastructure needs, you are going to be in a position you're going to have to reevaluate this plan. Like I said, you've got to look at this every year and make sure that we are adjusting pricing as needed for the business in the coming fiscal year.
Does our rate structure with Waco, is it graduated on volume like this? The more we pull from Waco, the greater we
It
pay,
is-
or do we have
It
a
is
flat
not. So
rate?
what you have with the city of Waco is you have basically a demand charge. It's based on a subscribed peak demand number. There's actually several components to it. There's a raw water charge, there's a treatment charge, there's a demand charge based on your peak day subscription, then there's a volumetric charge, which is based on what you actually used. It's not, the volumetric charge is not an inclining block. It's just a uniform volumetric rate. What you use is what you pay. It's really that demand charge. That effectively is what we call a taker pay. You're going to pay that regardless of what you take every year.
Demand charge is what we're paying for the right to be able to grab it. in the
Yes,
first
sir.
place.
Yes, sir. And if you'll go back, this was actually, this is back on slide 4 in the presentation. I've actually broken this out for you where you can see those 4 components. You can see the raw water charge, the demand charge, the treatment plant expansion charge. All those are fixed, right? That's a fixed cost to you. The volumetric charge, that's what's going to vary. The more, obviously if you use more, that's going to go up. That's that uniform volumetric rate. But when we look at the fixed rate, that $15.69, that's what you have to charge every customer in the city every month to recover those first 3 charges. The raw water charge, demand charge, and treatment plant expansion.
Basically, no matter how much they.
Doesn't matter how much they
The customer
use.
uses, they're
Yes,
going
sir.
to have to cover these costs because we have to cover.
That's correct. That's just access to water. That's what that is.
Okay, and then the big one here, percentage of water expenses. I mean, our cost of goods sold is 55%.
Yes, sir.
Is what you're telling us.
That's what I'm telling you. Yes, sir.
55 cents on every dollar is just buying the water.
Yes, sir.
Is that where it needs to be? I mean, as a businessman, 55% cost of goods sold sounds like a really
So
extraordinarily high number.
I've seen it as high as 60 or 70% in other communities. You can't do what Waco does for you for the same price. Because you would have to
Correct.
go out and build a lake, you'd have to build a treatment plant. You can't get it more cost effectively than what you're getting
Yeah.
it from the cost of Waco.
We
from
have
Waco.
2 wells in the community, and the
Right.
reason we're buying it from Waco is because Waco can give it to us or sell it to us
Exactly.
cheaper than we can treat it and pump it here.
Exactly.
My question is in terms of our expenses, if we're making the revenue adjustments, how far down is it realistic to drive this 55%? What's a low number? 45, 35, 25?
I'd say a low number is probably about 40. If you're really going to ramp up your infrastructure program and start getting your water cost up there as a percentage basis, that may drop to 40%. But again, that's a lot of investment. And so the other thing, as I said before, we want to be cognizant of the impact we're having on citizens.
Correct.
That's why you see where we're coming in. That's why you see the phase in as we go into the future. We have to be good stewards of the resources that are provided to us. So, as I look at this, I wouldn't necessarily look at driving down that number. I would look at making sure that you're funding your infrastructure appropriately. And like you said, that you're not sending rainwater to Waco to treat. From a water standpoint, you want to take care of your water system because you don't want to buy water from Waco that you lose in leaks on the system. At that point, that's non-revenue water. That doesn't do you any good. Now you're paying for something that's not generating revenue. So let's use the monies that you have in your city to come in and invest in that infrastructure. Let's tighten up the water system. Let's tighten up the wastewater system. That's a good use of resources. At that point, it's almost paying for itself because you're not coming in and paying for something that you're not generating revenue.
Sure. Yes, sir.
As far as the fund reserve, and, forgive me if my ignorance, on any of my questions here, the fund reserve, I see it's gaining of 10-15%, when your graphs show that our expense and revenue is basically flat.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand your question.
In
Can you
other
point?
words,
Can you point me to where you're looking?
Your revenues, your expense,
Mhm.
pretty much the same.
Yes, sir.
They're right at the same line.
Yes, sir.
So how is our fund reserve gaining 10-15% on your graph that you have?
There's a margin there. You're also probably not seeing the infrastructure fund that we're building in there as well.
Okay.
I'd have to give you the full spreadsheets and dig into those to show you how the numbers work. But we are dropping net income to the bottom line every year.
Did you impute an interest rate in that fund balance?
No, we didn't. I mean, that's just dollars in the bank.
Okay.
So yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So none of that gain is related to accrued interest?
No, so again, as we look, and let me go back into our combined fund balance summary, where we're at here, that's the combined summary there. So right now, I'm sorry, that's under current rates. Let me get back to where I'm at. Too many spreadsheets. So what we're showing right now in 2026, total revenues, and I'm not sure which option I'm under here, but total revenues $4,093,000. We're showing total expense of $3.989 million. So we actually do generate about $104,000 in 2026. So $104,000 in 26, $107,000 there in 2027. It's a small margin, but we are dropping some to the bottom line.
Chris? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So another question that I have, was there ever a consideration of an equivalency factor to the meter side?
We can certainly do that if you've got good information on your residential meters. So right now, you do charge your commercial meters based on size. On the residential side, we've kept that as a flat rate. To the extent you have residential customers that are above 5/8 inch, we could certainly come in and graduate that. Likely, you don't have that many meters in the system that are that much larger on the residential side.
So I was just basically looking at the commercial side.
Right.
And it doesn't look like AWWA has an equivalency factor chart that they go by. And it doesn't look like that percentage was applied on the commercial side on option one.
Okay.
It looks like there was like maybe a $2 raise, increase
Mhm.
on the, commercial.
Okay.
You know, on a 2 inch, but if you use the equivalency factor, on a 2 inch, that is it's 8 times
Understand?
the amount of, say, a 3/4 inch. And would a consideration on the commercial side, could we possibly discuss that?
Absolutely.
As far as the larger meters, if you end up having you know, and you probably understand this.
Mhm. Yes, sir.
If you end up having a leak on a larger meter, what it does to our system is by far worse than, say, 5/8 inch
Yes, sir.
on the residential side. And I'm not really talking about the residential side, I'm just mainly talking about the commercial side. But to make it more fair on the equivalency factor and increase that, you know, and 8 times more, you know, and somebody would think that that's gonna be a huge amount, but it's not.
Right.
You know, based on what you're doing here, you know, it's basically $16 instead of $2.
Right.
But, you know, if we could get that applied, you know, across the board on all those, meter sizes, you know, to me, it makes people more, you know, especially on the commercial side, more cognizant of, you know, how precious water is to our system.
No, more than happy to go back and take a second look at that, and we will do that. One thing I'll note for you, right now, based on your system, we see 1 8-inch meter, 1 6-inch meter, 2 4-inch meters, 7 3-inch meters, and 71 2-inch meters. So to your point, we're not going to generate a lot of revenue,
Right.
but from an equity standpoint, I'm more than happy to take a second look at that. Okay?
Chris, are there any efficiencies that we could gain? Anything that we're missing out on as far as spending money on, or wasting money on, or any of that type of thing, that other than just the decaying infrastructure?
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing, is when you think about efficiency, since you are buying water, you're buying a product from Waco, anytime you lose a drop of that water and it doesn't get to your customers and generate revenue, that's waste. That's inefficiency. So investing in the system, getting that infrastructure up to par, reducing those losses, that's the biggest, from a cost-benefit analysis, that's what makes most sense. Same thing on the wastewater side. Anytime you get a drop of rainwater in that system that you're sending to Waco to treat, that's inefficiency. So again, from a cost-benefit standpoint, that's where you're going to gain ground.
Chris, what do you see normal water loss?
That's
Percent.
a really, really good question. The highest recommended water loss, honestly, is about 15%. In terms of, quote, normal water loss, I'd really like to see that closer to about 5, maybe 6%. You're going to lose some water.
Right.
I mean, water follows the path of least resistance. It's under pressure, it's going to get out. The further we can get that down, the better. Now, it also depends on how you're measuring it. If you can account for your loss, that's better than what we call lost and unaccounted for water. If there's water that we just don't know where it's going, that's not what we want. If we're losing water, we at least want to know where it's going and why. Okay?
Yeah, we heard a story about that the other night. The big loss. Our rate, what's our rate, loss rate? Our loss rate?
I think last year it was like 13%.
We could be better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
I
we'd
was-
like to get it lower too.
Yeah.
Of course, that also includes, I'm not sure if we calculate flushing.
Well, and that's the thing, again.
We should, but
yeah,
I'm not sure we do.
yeah. If you're,
But
if you're
that's
keeping
water
track of that.
That you know it's gone.
Right.
Right, that's
Yeah.
water we know.
That's accounted for.
Accounted for.
Yeah, that's
Right.
accounted for, yeah.
That was the term I was looking for, thank you.
I was working for a utility up in the Northeast one time. They're on a river, and they take straight out of the river. Got to looking at their numbers. They were losing 50% of their water. And I'm like, look, I'm from Texas. That's a sin where I come from. But for them, it wasn't an issue. They just pull it straight out of the river. It's always there. So it's very different when you're looking at a utility with limited water sources. So really here in Texas, 15%'s up there. When you're working at the Public Utility Commission, if they see your losses get above 15%, they're probably going to cap you at that 15% level. They're going to want you to come in and do something about it. So.
Just curious, I've been through, rate increases before. And I'll say this is probably one of the lowest ones I have ever seen. I'm really curious as to what dictated the amount that we're coming to.
So the amount you're coming to is based on the three things that we talked about: overall revenue sufficiency, debt service coverage, and reserves. So as we come in, number one, we want to be sufficient. We want to be able to cover our debt. Our reserve level needs to be adequate. So what we're really looking at here is that infrastructure investment. Like I said, we're assuming $500,000 next year, $300,000 every year after that, and only $1 million in debt issuance every other year. So you're in decent shape right now. If those infrastructure needs go up, then the rate increases are going to need to go up going forward. So yes, is it a modest increase in my opinion? Yes, it's a modest increase, but I'm also recognizing this is between $5, $6 a month to the average customer in an overall increase. Do you have more needs than what we've dictated here? Probably. You probably have more infrastructure needs than what we've shown here.
Right, and that's where I was about to go at, is that, we may be looking good right now, but, you know as well as I do that, everything has a life expectancy.
Yes, sir.
And my fear is that we're getting close to that,
Understand?
and that's gonna be a huge impact on us, and a lot of cost associated with it.
Yes, sir.
I think that, over the years, there's been neglect on replacing and stuff like that, just like any other city, you know? And I think what my fear is with this rate increase being as minimal as it is, and I certainly understand, you know, the residents, I'm not taking the shock and awe, you know, but, we have to be able to operate.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know that the amount that we're at is gonna do that.
I will say, normally when we come in to do a rate study, we are provided a massive master plan where engineers have gone in and they've looked at every piece of the system, and they've come back and said, you need all of these things going into the future. I don't know where the city is at with that right now. So what we've presented to you is what our understanding of the situation is and what we can justify right now. Now, like I said, you get a professional engineer in here, they go through the system, they tick and tie everything. It may be $30 million. It may be $40 million. It's a different plan at that point. Right now, our plan is based on what we know, but as things change, as we get better information, as we look at the system and come up with that comprehensive line item plan, this will need to change.
I have one more question. I know that you can raise rates here,
Mhm.
without going and getting the approval through the PUC.
That's correct.
What is that percentage? Do you know?
As far as what you can raise it,
That's correct, your increase.
you can raise it as much as you want. I've been with the
Right.
city.
But you have to get PUC's
No, sir.
approval.
No, sir. Not for in-city rates. In-city rates, you maintain what's called the council maintains original jurisdiction over the rates. The council is the rate setting or regulatory body for the in-city rates. So if they say it needs to be 146%, which I've had a council approve that before, if they say it needs to be 146% and they pass it, that's it. That's what it is for your in-city customers. There is no limit on what that increase can be. Now, if you're talking about appellate jurisdiction, that's different. So, but again, in-city rates, the council is the rate setting, they're the regulatory body. Okay? Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I understood this dialogue correctly, is it fair for me to walk away with the impression that this rate study and the recommendations you've made is sort of a baseline where we are to maintain where we are and certain reasonable future expenses, unspecified future upgrades and expenses, but that it doesn't really cover some of what Jim was talking about here with an extraordinary damage or an extraordinary discovery or some major capital?
Yes, sir. I would say
Is that
this
correct?
is baseline. This is reasonable based on what we know today.
Okay.
Now, again, if you come in and you give me an engineering study that says we need to invest $30 million, this isn't going to get it done.
Oh, yeah.
I will absolutely tell you this isn't going to get it done.
I don't think we're there.
Okay.
I've described it in talking with our city engineers about water and sewer and streets and et cetera. So at least water is one we kind of got our elbows up out
Right.
of the foxhole, you know?
Right.
And that's not to say we're not going to spend some money, but
Yeah. You know, I was hired to provide you a defensible rate plan. This, to me, is a defensible rate plan based on the information provided to me. As I said, as you get better information, as your engineers come up and start coming up with those longer capital improvement plans, we need to come back. We need to take a second look at this. We need to tweak things. If Waco comes in and decides tomorrow they need to build a whole nother lake, that you're going to pay some of the cost of.
if they do that, I'm going to kiss them in public, okay?
Okay.
Because we're out of water.
I understand. You're
Yeah.
not the
Right.
not the only one. You're
Right.
not the only one. But yes, I think describing this as baseline, as a defensible rate increase, that's how I would describe this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
time
sir.
very much. Appreciate it.
At 6:47, we will recess the work session to convene into regular session and move on to item 5, approval of the minutes from city council meeting held on July 8th, 2025. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes from the city council meeting held on July 8th, 2025.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Sorry, who seconded?
Mr.
Henry.
Mr. Bush. Any discussion? Hearing none. All right, please poll the council.
Ms. Jamison?
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes?
Mr. Ledniski,
Yes.
Mr. Hurst,
Yes.
and Mr. Daniel.
Yes.
Item 6, discussion and consideration to make the voluntary $1 fee for the Lacy Lakeview Volunteer Fire Department mandatory. This fee would be included in the monthly water bill, replacing the current voluntary contribution option. Do I hear a motion?
I move to raise the, make the voluntary $1 fee for the Lacy Lakeview Volunteer Fire Department mandatory.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
When does this go into effect?
I would say, actually October 1st, when our new budget goes into effect.
Do we know what percentage of the residents pay it currently?
We have, 2,133 meters. On an average, we're usually between $650 to $700 to the fire department.
So a third?
A third,
Okay.
yeah.
So 2/3 are opting out.
Yes. And I think some of that might be because when they pay online, I'm not sure how it shows up on there. So if we put it on the bill, it automatically go in. We used to have a more participation before it went online, they could pay online.
So there's obviously a difference.
So I think that would really be different, yeah.
So do we know what that was then?
I'd say probably 1,200, more than half, about half.
So 50%. My thing is that we have a lot of residents that are lower income, and I think we need to support our fire department 100%. But we need to always take in consideration those people and make sure that we're not $3 here and $3 there and $1 here and $1 there. You know, every other month do something different. So, is this enough?
Is it enough? It's never enough.
New fire truck's $1 million.
Yeah. And I
Probably
think
an
y'all-
8-year asset.
Yeah.
You know, it'll last 20, but
Yeah.
you probably ought to amortize it over 8, no more than 10.
Yeah, like I say, it's certainly not enough. It's definitely a start in the right direction. And I think at the last budget meeting, we looked at their air packs, you know. They probably got another year on the air packs. That's what, 180, almost 190,000. So that's something we'll have to address in the future, but at least it's a start.
I think most of our citizens don't recognize that the volunteer fire department is.
Not until you need them.
Yeah, well, but they raise a lot of money. There's a reason why you see them standing out on the street corner with a boot, you know, so we're trying to raise money. We don't cover all of their expenses on a day-to-day basis. They have donated their time and done work, you know, modifying, you know. We spent a couple of grand buying a chassis, and they'll put 10 grand in it of their own money that they raise. So,
If I might make a suggestion, if you're going to decide when you want to implement it, if that's the case, whoever made the motion, and whoever seconded the motion might want to amend, if they can, to set a start date, so everybody would know it doesn't start till October 1. Technically.
we wanted to.
Well, what's the date that we want to start?
I think I said October 1st.
Well, yeah, that's the beginning of the fiscal year.
That's when we'll put our new fee schedule in place, or y'all will approve the new fee schedule. So.
That's when our budget starts, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's in this fiscal year.
Yeah,
October
our
1.
new budget and our fee schedule coincide with each other.
Okay. I'd like to amend my motion of, where's that at? Oh, making the voluntary $1 fee for the Lacy Lakeview Fire Department to starting October 1 of 2025.
Second that.
I'll second that.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Lori, please poll the council.
Mr. Lodnisky,
Yes.
Ms. Jamison,
Yes.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Mr. Hurst,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes.
and Mr. Wilson.
Yes. Item 7, discussion and consideration to accept the resignation of Municipal Court Judge Will Hudson. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to accept the resignation of Municipal Court Judge Will Hudson.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I will say real quickly, the resignation had nothing to do with Lacy Lakeview. He very much enjoyed his short tenure out here. It is a career opportunity that was presented to him that he was unsolicited by him, and it was a job offer that his wife said he could not refuse. He did attempt to negotiate keeping Lacy Lakeview, and the state would not allow it. So, nothing but positive from him on this.
So we have a
And
friend of
Christine
the
and
state now, so.
Yes.
Any further discussion? No. Laurie, please poll the council.
Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Jamison,
Yes.
Mr. Daniel,
Yes.
Mr. Lodnisky.
Yes. Item 8 is public comment. We have no one
Oh,
on the
wait,
list. Do we have an updated list? Okay, first name on the list, Paul Lutke. Have a 3-minute limit, and if you wouldn't mind, when you reach the microphone, state your name and address.
Yeah, Paul Lidke, 502 North Oak. I'll disperse with my original option of talking about the mandatory thing. But I do want you to know, the company that y'all have on the online billing is not very efficient. And Mr. Hoddy and the water department can attest to the fact that my bill has been messed up for a couple, year or two, because of that $1 fee. And part of the reason you don't get all of that money is because they don't add it on to their bill every month. I have several bills that I can show you where 1 month it's on there as the volunteer fire donation, and other months it's not there. So that could have something to do with the fact that you don't get it all, because it isn't on their bill. And so anyway, that's just so you know. And my idea, since you took out $50,000 for this rate study, why don't you just take out $50,000 and give it to the fire department? You seem to be able to use it for anything you want. So, and now it's gonna go up to 13. So taking out $50,000 to give to the fire department seems pretty good, because they do use water. I mean, I don't know what you attested this study to, as far as what category, probably the water, but, just tell it to $50,000 to the fire department for water they use. So, anyway.
All right, we're moving on to item 9, mayor's report. I have nothing to report. We'll move on to council members' input. Anyone like to speak? Anything to say?
Coffee with the cop.
That was
With the
good.
Two of us went. I know that from the council.
Well, thank you. We will now, at 6:58, recess regular session to convene into executive session.
That's
be able to get my coffee.
Everybody loves a fireman, like, for me, I'm here. They don't do anything, don't worry.
Tomas is my friend. There we go. Tomas is my friend.
How much you pay her to say that?
Oh, we gave her candy.
Restrike our,
Or not a tree down, but just the limbs off.
when we restrike our fire trucks and everything, we abandoned that.
He's a good guy
I would
sometimes.
sign
He's
that
working
up.
tonight. Y'all are in there raiding his candy.
No, I'm good.
Oh, wow.
That is,
Too old for you. I ate one, I ate like that thing was.
Oh, busted.
I was gonna hide.
Got busted.
must have been.
She was the one to text.
Yeah.